Open letter to the Prime Minister of Canada. National concerns over regulatory abuse, racialized enforcement, and systemic injustice. From Weichen Tang, 1193 Huntingwood Drive, Toronto, Ontario, M1S1K6 Tel 4168868715. To the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, 80 Wellington Street, Ottawa, Ontario, K1A0A2. Dear Prime Minister, I write to you not only as a long-time resident of Canada, an entrepreneur, investor, and community leader, but also as the victim of a 15-year systemic regulatory attack carried out by the Ontario Securities Commission, OSC. This is no longer just a provincial matter. It is a national human rights concern involving regulatory overreach, racialized targeting, lack of independent oversight, conflicts of interest within provincial agencies, and repeated violations of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The consequences have devastated my life, my family, and the broader Chinese-Canadian community. OSC misconduct has become a national human rights issue. Since March 17, 2009, the OSC has frozen every investment account under my name and my company's, triggered the foreclosure and loss of my home, caused severe psychological distress to my wife, used former OSC staff, including Kelly McKinnon at Gowlings, to seize investor funds, manipulated media coverage to destroy my reputation, relied on unqualified experts in court, suppressed exculpatory evidence, including testimony from Professor John Charles Pattison, and turned me, a well-known Chinese-Canadian investor, into a scapegoat. No independent expert ever testified in my trial. This alone should never occur in a modern democracy. This is not regulation. This is state abuse. 2. The Chinese-Canadian community has been harmed. My case reflects a broader pattern experienced by Chinese entrepreneurs in Canada. Harsher charges, disproportionate enforcement, media vilification, and the use of Chinese defendants as public examples. Many in our community believe we are not treated equally. I believe this now constitutes a civil rights issue requiring federal attention. 3. The current system has no independent oversight. My experience reveals a dangerous structural flaw. The OSC makes the allegations. The OSC selects the experts. Former OSC lawyers work at the law firms paid from frozen funds. Courts rely on those same institutional networks. The Law Society, composed of the same professionals, claims no wrongdoing. There is no independent mechanism to check abuse. This is unacceptable in a country that stands for fairness, transparency, and the rule of law. 4. Request for federal government action. I respectfully request that your government establish a federal public inquiry into OSC enforcement practices, investigate racial bias in regulatory prosecutions, review conflicts of interest involving former OSC staff and large law firms, ensure charter protections for individuals facing regulatory actions. Create a federal oversight body for provincial regulators. Prevent agencies from freezing assets without proper due process. Ensure no Canadian is bankrupted or criminalized without fair trial rights. 5. I am prepared to present all evidence. I can provide 15 years of records and documents, a full charter application, affidavits, investor support petitions, including 116 signatures, U.S. and Canadian court findings, financial records proving no fraud, medical evidence of family harm, and documentation of systemic conflict of interest. I am willing to testify publicly before any federal committee, panel, or inquiry. Prime Minister, I believe in Canada. I believe in justice, equality, and the rule of law. But what has happened to me, and what is still happening, should never happen to any Canadian. I respectfully request your leadership in addressing this matter of national importance. Thank you for your attention. Sincerely, Wei Chun Tang, Tang Wei Zhen.